Afolabi?
Afolabi.
Afolabi?
Yeah, that's how you'd say it. Pronunciation, just like how, Spanish people pronounce their words. It would be pronounced Afolabi, and it means born into wealth.
Where does this name come from?
From my father's side. They probably don't even know anything about the culture or the history behind how their family even got to that point. Born in Lagos, Nigeria. I flew from Nigeria by myself. Eko, EKO, also known AKA Eko. Just to make sure the paperwork is right. Her being in the western part of the world, having to verify parental, status and all that stuff. She had friends, which were close friends of the family. Everybody, the family all knew them eventually. We did that for a while. It was a process. I remember going back and forth to the I think it was U.S. Embassy or Nigerian Embassy to do this and that. And I was young at the time. I was in Lagos with my father. We stayed there for one day, if it reached 24 hours. This is me in Nigeria at the time. Yeah, so,
Afolabi?
Afolabi.
Afolabi?
Yeah, that's how you'd say it, but with the native tongue and the pronunciation, just like how, Spanish people pronounce their words, it would be pronounced Afolabi.
Afolabi?
Afolabi.
Afolabi, where does that come from?
What
does that mean? Where does that come from?
It's Nigerian from the Yoruba culture. And it means born into wealth.
Means born into wealth?
Born into wealth, yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that a name you picked up for yourself?
No, that's, so in the Nigerian culture, or let me say Yoruba culture, I don't want to speak for the rest of the tribes. In our culture, when a child is born, both sides of the parents' family get to name them. So my mom's side of the family gets to give me a name. My father's side of the family gets to give me a name.
And where does this name come from?
From my father's side.
Your father's side?
Yeah.
And born into wealth.
Born into wealth. Yeah. And my middle name is Adekunle. And just to give a little reference to, Yoruba culture, when Ade, A-D-E, is in anybody's name, it's always in the beginning. Ade, which it means crown. So if anybody has Ade in their name, that means part of their family, or their family, one side of the family, is part of royalty. And just because they're part of royalty doesn't mean it comes with finance. You know what I'm saying? It could just be
social status.
Ruler, not just social status. This is real royalty.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you have a palace and all that stuff. Your family could just be, they could have inherited, rulership from, a specific area, a subdivision, a city, a town.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in my family, my dad's side, they have rulership over a town, in Nigeria.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And that's not no gimmick or anything.
Cool.
Like, I might even be next in line for kingdomship in Nigeria.
Cool.
At any point in time, from now to, you know what I'm saying? Any point in time.
Isn't that like a stereotypically Nigerian thing that I'm connected to some royal culture? Isn't that stereotypical?
And that's one of the reasons why I don't talk about that shit, because I know a lot of motherfuckers that utilize that to try to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And they probably don't even know anything about the culture or the history behind how their family even got to that point.
A lot of American-born Nigerians will do a lot of that.
Yeah.
But you weren't born in America. You were born in Nigeria.
Born in Nigeria. Born in Lagos, Nigeria.
Lagos, Nigeria.
Yeah. Nickname, Eko, E-K-O, also known, AKA Eko. Also known, Lagos is also known as Eko.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And so, how long were you in Lagos? How long did you live there?
7 years.
You grew up first 7 years of your life?
First 7 years of my life, I was in Lagos with my father, until my mom sent for me, which was in 1990.
And what happened at that time?
My mom sent for me, and then I met my mom in London. I flew from Nigeria by myself. But, then they were able to assign, kids that were flying, or I don't want to say kids, maybe adolescents that were, traveling. They're able to assign them to specific stewardess. Imagine, you can't even think of that shit right now, right? You couldn't fathom that happening right now.
They assigned you to a stewardess. Can you say more what that means? I guess I get it.
Well, just from my memory right now, especially...
It was like a flight stewardess.
Yeah. Flight stewardess.
They'd assign you to the flight stewardess, but like a parent needs to pick you up at the
airport. Yeah, my mom met me at the airport.
Yeah, right.
After that, my mom's uncle, he was the one that, escorted me to the airport from Nigeria, Lagos, to fly with an assigned stewardess, and it was a process. I remember going back and forth to the I think it was U.S. Embassy or Nigerian Embassy to do this and that, and drives, because from where my mom's uncle lived was, some distance away from the embassy. I remember driving, leaving early in the morning, coming back later on in maybe late afternoon, 2-3 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? And doing that for, if I can remember, for weeks. Just to make sure the paperwork is right. Her being in the western part of the world, having to verify parental status and all that stuff.
So this was to get you. This was you in England.
This is me in Nigeria at the time.
Before
leaving, before leaving to meet my mom in London.
Okay.
We did that for a while.
Yeah.
For some weeks.
It just in order to get you the clearance to get to London.
Exactly. Exactly. Visas and all that shit.
Right.
And, I was young at the time. And some of the language that was being spoken as far as, not language as far as communication wise, or English or Yoruba, but language as far as what they were talking about. Visa.
Sure, yeah.
What do I know? You know what I'm saying?
7 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And not even having any, any type of relevance to know what that is prior to hearing that. It's like
7 years old, don't really have a whole lot of concept of abstract thinking of visas and travel, and I'm a citizen of Earth. Like children are citizens of this planet that they are born into, not these dividing lines and stuff. But you got to London, and how long were you in London? How long did you live there?
We stayed there for 1 day, if it reached 24 hours.
You stayed there for 1 day?
1 day.
You only lived in London for 1 day?
No, then. That's when I first got, so 1990, when I first got to London, was only to meet my mom there.
Okay.
Because I guess that's where the connecting flight was. So my mom wanted to meet me where my connecting flight is. So that way we could continue to travel to America, final destination. You know what I'm saying? And, she had friends, which were close friends of the family. Everybody, the family all knew them eventually.
Yeah.
And, met my mom there and my sister. So funny thing is, when my mom was there waiting for me, I guess she was there weeks prior. She ended up giving birth to one of my sisters. So I saw one of my sisters first before the rest of my siblings did.
Cool.
Yeah.
So your move from Nigeria was through London, but to America?
Correct.
Okay. So you moved to America at what age?
Shoot. I was still 7.
7 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still 7. 'Cause
how long were you you lived in London at some different part of your life?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So we were up and down.
So tell me about that timeline. You're in America, and then you went back to London at some point.
Yeah.
So outside of America, how long had you lived in Nigeria for 7 years, and then London for how long? At what ages?
When I did live in London,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I lived there for 8 years.